Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment of the Quickview series. This one, I debated. I pondered because this is a tire that has been here for a hot minute. If memory serves, and in this case I think it does, this is the Axial Nitto Trail Grappler MT, which I believe were the stock tires that came on the JLU kit, or came with the JLU kit. So they have been here for several years, and if you look at them, we still have the full mold release line down the center, because, okay, these have never been tested, but this is like if a guy in the Civil War reenactment pulls out his smartphone, that's what they call an anachronism. Something that is out of place and out of time and space shows up. The coffee cup on Game of Thrones. This is the opposite of that. This is if you turn up to the Star Wars space battle between the Empire and the Rebellion and a guy pulls out an old flintlock rifle. That's what these are. Because these are R35 compound, and R35 compound, so far as I can tell, is not an individual being, but it is a collective, because no two R35 tires that we test perform even remotely similarly. The Ripsaw, the venerable little 435 Ripsaw, is kind of amazing in R35. Other R35 tires, we have cut all of the lugs off and mounted them inside out because they work better this way. This was the Axial Falcon Wild Peak with all of its lugs cut off, run inside out, and it performed better than it did with all of its lugs running right side out. So it occurred to me as I was moving stuff around, we're constantly moving stuff around, that these had never gotten a test because they were... to say, would the description of woefully unimpressive be accurate? Because they came with a single stage foam. The foam was slightly over medium. Let me consult the sack. The sack. We'll consult the sack. They should. Yes, they're still somewhere up here near the top. It is. I would put it right at a medium. Right when you go like this, it feels like a medium. Look at they've been tattooed, but when they rebound, I don't know how to explain this. They feel different this way than they do when they're pushing back on you. They push back as if they're like a medium hard foam, but they squeeze down like just a straight medium. Now you can see by the tattoos born across this guy all the way. We have an amount of ribbing and belting. Like you saw this ribbing and belting. This is half the height and cordal thickness. Maybe half. Look at that rib. That is a 2 millimeter wide by probably 2 millimeter tall rib, and it is full ribs, everybody. Full belting all the way with reinforcement and ribbing. What are these for? Like, these would be so I can show you right here. If we have a Vanquish, we do. Okay. So that sits on a rod. It'll give you an idea of the differential level of softness also. So because of that belting and ribbing, we can stretch it out, let's call it 20%. You know, you can compare that to Vanquish Red. So this is the core. The fundamental problem with what Axial does, which is, it is not unique to Axial. They either don't know what they're doing, or they're doing something with a mission that we don't understand. Because unless your rig is designed to go 35, 40, 45 miles an hour, you never need a tire with this much sidewall strengthening and this much belting down the middle. When you push it like this, it feels like it has a foam in it. It doesn't feel like that's just lug. So it's way over stiff. So pretty much any foam you put in it is going to make it way over stiff. Unless your rig weighs, I don't know, like 13 pounds, could probably get away with these. And then, okay, this is a full, we'll bleed it on the scaler in a second. This is a class 2 tire. 4.7 by 1.7, 1.9. But it isn't. Like if we hold it up against, okay, fake tusk, right? Look at that. Pretty much the exact same width, very close. Pretty much the exact same height, very close. But on the inside of this, they've got these little notches on the edges, which are, I think, to help release it from the mold. It doesn't really do anything when it's in service. Most tires in the 465, 475 are going to be more like the Louise with just nothing. Because it's a crawler tire. We don't need that stuff. This has so much ribbing and belting in it that a Endura silicone, which is designed for a tire this wide, see that? Oh, fits in this tire, which is, we need to see those side by side. Would you call that 50% wider? Right about there. Yeah. 40, let's call it 40% wider. Yet, because the ribbing and the belting is so substantial, there's no void at all. No void, no bag. It's the correct height, it's the correct width. So as I was tooling around putting stuff away, and I was noticing, why is this tire so thick on the inside? I thought, you know what? It's never, we never did the Quickview. And these are the Quickviews that, for me, shine. Because there will be a lot of you out there. I want to say these are, correct me, these are RTR Capra as well. My Capra was built initially from a kit, so I didn't have a set of these on the Capra. The JLU no longer resembles anything like what it was when it came out of the box. Its parts have been distributed over like 5 vehicles. So these never got what I would consider to be a proper shot. You see the difficulty in mounting because the carcass is thick. R35 is a gigantic question mark hovering over the land of like, what are we actually doing? Is it specifically made to go fast? Is it for rock crawlers? I don't know what R35 is for because no two R35 tires have behaved even, I wouldn't even say similarly, because I just saw the Baja Boss on the rack. Let's see. Okay, here is a Baja Boss, which they've gone to, that's the same size. That's the same size, just a different lug. But, let's see, what is the height? Yeah, look at the depth of that. That depth is even shallower than the depth on the Falcons. So, maybe the AI is learning, and maybe they're starting to make the ribbing, like that doesn't feel like there's actually some give, some compliance, because the ribs aren't immense. I don't know if our good boy, is gonna be light enough for this. Like, I feel like they want 10 pounds sitting on them. Even on Endura Greens, which are inserts for 5-pound vehicles. Maybe we can get a little bite out of that shoulder. The taper of the Endura insert, how it falls up. I've only got no, I do have a blue. Okay. So in the Endura, there's nothing right here. So that's going to help not strengthen this. So, hoping against hope, we can get a little bit of bite out of this. Also, this is a wonderful, this is wonderful. This is the kind of Quickview I look forward to because my expectations are 0. Across the entirety of the fleet, of the Canyon fleet, over 40 vehicles. One set of Axial ripsaws is the sum total of Axial tires being run. I would have to double check that. I would have to walk around and double check, but I'm pretty confident that there is one set. Ironsides, the TRX4 Defender, runs 435 ripsaws and is the only... Wait, nope, take it back. Zombie runs 435 Axial ripsaws. So we have two vehicles running Axial and they're running the same tire. I don't think this is going to be the redemption of R35 as a compound or Axial as a tire maker. They still make one good tire and everything else is... but, hey, you never know. These have not touched rock in, and I can say this quite literally, years. So, they get a plus point already because there is no sign whatsoever, dry rot, cracking, ozone, like degassing. They're dirty, but they look new. So, plus point there. They fit a skinny, and that, well, you know what, that feels okay. They feel like they're on a bespoke 3D printed almost. A little over firm, but not, because that's the tire that's over firm. So let's see. They might, you know what? We might be pleasantly surprised. But if we're not, we just go, it's R35. And then we move on with our days. So we will let the rocks decide, as they always do, as we take the Axial Nitto Trail Grappler MT in the bizarre, impossible to quantify R35 compound, and we put it on the rocks. It just occurred to me on the drive back, Class 2 protocol today. Class 2 protocol. A lot less falling down. Let's just hope that there's less just constant wheel sliding. Come on, grapplers. Puppet. Let's go like a 40, 42. I mean, part of you wants to see it. There's a perverse part of all of us that is like, yeah, spin it to win it. But like, you want to see it pull through. We're gonna let them warm up. We're gonna wonder if it's a cleanliness. Is this a lug cleanliness issue? We can give it some attitude and slide right. Oh, okay, all right. Nope, right back in the pocket. Anything? He's a little. We left a little behind. Quite a lot of lug noise. Okay, I'll give it that. Definitely responded well to some low throttle input there. Oh, hey. All right. Oh, they kind of fall out of control pretty easily. And get it. You know, I ain't mad at it. It ain't great. Like, I don't think we're gonna, yeah, we're not getting straight over the bean with these, I don't think. Get. Hey. All right. You are building yourself certainly a more respectable number, Trail Grappler. Get it? So what we have to do is we have to quick view this from the perspective of an OE tire. These already have exceeded the expectation. These feel very similar to the Baja Boss. I think the Baja Boss traded the thickness of the internal ribbing and belting for chunkier, more tightly spaced lugs, so we kind of ended up in the same place. I have astigmatism. I've had to wear glasses since I was 14 years old, and it sucks. But the pair of glasses that are on my face right now, I'm pointing at them, is the same prescription for 20 for 21 years. They said that's good. You don't want your prescription to change. What happens is my vision gets a little better and my astigmatism gets a little worse. So they cancel themselves out. That's happened like 3 or 4 times over the past decade. So I end up wearing the same glasses. That's what Axial did with the R35 here. The Baja Boss is thinner, less rib, less belt, thicker lug. These are thicker, more rib, more belt. I guess the lugs are a little more cooperative. So we end up in the same sort of like, kind of a place. You know, We haven't had a lot of Class 2s to test recently, and I think that's evidenced by the fact that in my desire to get baseline back out on the rocks, we're quick-viewing trail grapplers. Hey! They strike me as a tire that would respond more to big throttle inputs than to small ones. Need to get the edge of that tire. It's not pretty. It's certainly not pretty. They are also very tall. Did I measure them? Did we remember to measure them? I don't think we did. They're the exact same size as a Baja Boss or a Tusk. We're going to call them 4.75. So we're going to call them, what, 118 by 47? The exact same size as a Baja Boss. Hey! Caught me off guard. I was kind of looking off to the side. Let me do that again. Okay. All right. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Are you picking up what I might be picking up? I'm kind of seeing where these go. Is it in the name? Was I trying to ignore? They're not the Nitto Rock Grappler. They're the Nitto Trail Grappler. There's a real point where the traction goes, no, I don't have enough of that. Sorry, Chief. This is all we've got. But in that, like, middle stuff, like, strongly okay. This is the one that I really want to see, though, because silicones are not as good at side hilling as 3D printed, because silicone will compress laterally a little bit, like they will collapse at the shoulder, and then they also have no shoulder. They're very tapered off at the top, whereas most 3D printed inserts are kind of squared off at the top. Now, I think that our good buddy the grappler here, baseline has picked up a squeak. I think that the shoulder is stiff enough that I think it will counteract it if we can get into the spot. So he runs 4.65s all day, and those canyon trails have seen some stuff. They are canyon trails on the old school medium double buns, so they actually sit about 4.5s. These are full-blown 4.75, and you can feel it, both in terms of his just outright ground speed. It's got to be a drive shaft. Oh, you didn't get to see it. One more try, 3 strikes and you're out. The self-right was pretty spicy. Okay, I think I was coming in too low. So we'll go up a bit higher. I want to see that rear end slide more. It's kind of grabbing more than I would anticipate. Oh, I didn't like that drop. We'll get real slow. Slow as we can go. It will not land on the wheels. Now, admittedly, this is not as much a grappler test as it is a grappler plus Injora silicone test. And I genuinely think that those silicones are helping out here. Like, more than a little. And a little sun peeking through here. No No harsh summer shadows this morning. Honestly, that's more than I thought we were going to get up right there. Try the shuttle. They're reasonably maneuverable. They just, because of what they is, because of the stuff on the inside, way too much ribbing, way too much belting, they respond much more betterly to comical amounts of throttle input than they do to low throttle input. Nice little hop. Went right in a straight line too. You will hear a lot of. See, that was okay. That was okay. This is a trail tire that I do believe will trail a lot and will rock climb just a little. But they do have that advantage lurking behind them. Point one, you probably already have some. If you already have some, then you're in the wheelhouse of this. I can tell you already, this is not a tire that you go out and buy. If you already have some, or you know a buddy that has a Capra or a JLU and they're just sitting in a box and you're putting together something for the trail, dovetails perfectly into advantage number 2, which is these are probably going to last a long, long time. And if you've got yourself a 2-speed gearbox, you're doing something a little dumb, these are not going to pizza cutter out on you. They're like I say, they are belted like a tire built to do 40 miles an hour. There's less belting on tires that come on like Traxxas Slashes. These are belted. And as such, they don't smear. They're more behaved. They are not dignified. They are reserved. They are reserved in their capacities and their deliveries. I got to fix that wiper. And there is definitely something about the lug size, shape, orientation, or combination of the 3 factors that make these track super straight. They roll super straight. If your steering is true, these will just go in a straight line. And up until a certain point, and there is a real defined drop-off point, up till that point, gotta get that rear axle off. These are strongly okay. When you ask them to do something particularly competitive, they kind of go, oh, I don't really feel like doing that right now, boss. I had said, look at that, if you would. I had said before testing this properly, I remember informally comparing the grappler and the grabber. So the cut grabber is better than the uncut grabber. And I had said both were better than the grappler. Now I don't know. Now I'm rethinking it. Look at the stiffness. Baseline is not particularly heavy. You'll notice even when it gets to that point where it looks like it's going to tip out, it's not deflection. It's not the tire rolling over. It's that just you're actually physically running out of traction. I think that says something. Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. E. I mean, pleasantly surprising. At worst, pleasantly surprised by the Trail Grappler. And it has to be its green insides. Because I've driven these more than a number of times, and they were never even, I was never even like, things could be worse. It was that anything is better than this. This isn't This isn't bad. This isn't bad at all. I mean, good, qualified, big asterisk. The asterisk is maybe bigger than the good. Is it good for R35? Yeah. Is it good, like, compared to uncut Canyon Trail? No, Canyon Trail is going to beat it. So, I mean, if you were to say cut Canyon Trail, we're not there. This right here, what you're seeing at Daphne's, this is about the very top limit of what a trail grappler will do. This is it right here. We can't really pull the soft side because we need more compliance in the front, and we're just not getting it. We're seeing those straight fallbacks. One more shot. One more shot. Yeah. We need more compliance at both ends, and I mean, are you gonna get your Dremel out, flip the tires inside out, and like grind them down? I don't think they're worth that level of effort. I mean, I'm sure wet will determine that for sure. Hey, that was all right. Hey, look at that. Pretty nice. Then you ask it to do something a little more difficult, and it's like, I don't really want to do that. Again, not terrible. Oh, getting that energy return. A lot of that energy return is silicone based. The bump, though, pretty consistent for a non-directional tire. Not great. I mean, you can see, I was going to say, you can see it has a tendency to bump left, but if you hit a rock that wants to bump it right, the terrain is going to determine where your bump lands. It's generally not what we want. The edge should be so hard, we should have no problem flopping. But it's self-right, though. Again, rock hard shoulder, hit it, boop. Like this is top percentile. We'll do the front. Middling there. Its performance on the wheel high reverse, that's stellar. And this is at 50% reverse, so not as big of a fan. I mean, it is so predictable. If you get the little catch, some tires, I'll go so far as to say most. Not all tires, but most tires are better if we catch it, like we haven't settled all the energy, we get that whip. If you can catch that whip in the middle, boom. That is a very good self-right performance. But we kind of know where this is going to land, right? I mean, having not even seen wet yet, I kind of have an idea. Within another week or so, this is just all going to be a massive leaf pile. I wanted to see the low speed. Yeah, even with the tightness of the lug spacing, they float pretty well. There it is in the name again. So I guess we should qualify by saying that the Canyon Trail excels above its trail name, right? It can rock crawl pretty well. The Trail Grappler is a trail tire that can rock crawl about the amount one would expect it would. Okay, if you're going for scale accuracy, this is kind of there. Even with a very soft insert, it's like we're not aired down. We're running too high of an air pressure. They just float, though. Also, if you're putting this on something that's a little bit more scale, I think I have a home for these already. I think I do. I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we're here together. Really, I mean it sincerely, because I'm building an FMS FJ40. It's currently fitted with some high racks. I now think it should be fitted with these, because that FMS weighs at least 75% more than baseline. And I want to see if these big shoulders, these big stiff shoulders, mush over. I think these are scale. Like, that FJ40 is never going to be an even competent rock crawler, but it is fun. I think these will lend to that. Like, that right there, aside from self-righting, I think that's the best thing the Trail Grappler has done today. They really managed, that's cocoa powder over there. It manages that really well. I just want them not to be awful when wet, and they weren't super great when dry. So we make careful considerations. But you know what? Pleasantly surprised by the Trail Grappler. So just don't let me down. Try the wide out. Do you see what I'm talking about? Like, we're so close. Nope. I thought, for a split second, I thought we had it. They're just, it's an over firm issue, you know? Axial could easily redesign all of their tires. Don't change the outsides at all. Just make them smooth on the inside. So Trail Grappler, and then in with a parentheses, like rock mode or rock version or crawl version or whatever. They could fix them all, because then they would just be making Vanquish tires. They would just be making Vanquish tires. I think R35 never gets a chance, because I don't think they make the tires right, except for ripsaws. Except for 1/9 ripsaws. Yeah, this is exactly what I was hoping for. Which is, and I'm not kidding, this doesn't feel any different on wet than it did on dry. Right where I get to where it looks like that passenger front is going to pull over, it doesn't. But we get to the exact, I mean, does this look familiar at all? And then we let it off. Just that little, no slide back, no fall back, no roll back. Bring in some of the side stuff. And there you go. So the whole time we were going through this, my brain kept going, these feel interchangeable with the Baja Boss, the stock tire off of the CJs, off the CJ7, which got somewhere around a 92, 93.4 for these, which I don't know if it's good or bad, honestly, I don't. The green Injora, I think, made a significant difference. And once I slipped that insert up inside that tire, I knew that these were not double bun compatible. They're basically internally, they're the thickness of the real thin boys, like Proline Toyos, Injora Compen S4s or S5s, Vanquish, well, the Geolanders. They like a nice thin tire nowadays, and this, despite being typical, what I would call a typical Class 2 width externally, are more like a thin Class 2 internally because of all the ribbon belt. Maybe someone out there will take it upon themselves to get the Dremel out and go to town on the inside, or a belt sander, and go to the town to the inside of these tires and thin them down and see how they perform. But, you know, it's one of those things. At that score, that's a reasonable score for an OE tire fitted with an inexpensive aftermarket insert, but under $20 a set of 4 nowadays. So if you already have them, if you had a Capra or a JLU, and you have a set of the Nitto Trail Grapplers in R35, the inexplicable R35, throw some Injora silicones in them and slap them on the thing that isn't outrageous. Or, oh, pre-runner? You doing a pre-runner? These would be great on a pre-runner because they don't care about the speed. That ribbing and belting is going to help you out. Maybe even run some blue silicone in them. This is an OE tire, and I think every OE tire has fallen into this classification to a degree. You don't need to throw it away. I would put these above both the Vanquish Red Compound Geolander and the Vanquish Red Compound Falcon Wild Peak. Not in terms of grip, but in terms of the holistic view of the tire. These will last way longer. If you manage to rip a sidewall on one of these, brother, you've done something. So there are advantages. The advantages are you probably already have them. You can outfit them with inserts for under $20. They will be durable. They're not going to dry rot out because that compound is not exotic. It is not. Is it as good as a Canyon Trail? No. Does it have the same amount of forward drive as a cut grabber? Very close. Very close. So give a second chance. Tier 1 recycling. They're definitely not skewer bound tires. They're not that bad. They're not amazing. But they also, if you squint hard enough and you really narrow down what qualifies as buying something, these didn't cost anything. They came in the kit. We were going to buy the kit one way or the other. It didn't matter that these tires came in. They were neither an advantage. They weren't something that motivated us to buy it, and they were not something that would detract away from buying it. We weren't going to say, ugh, I wouldn't buy that kit because of those tires. I would say I wouldn't buy that kit because of the gearbox. There are bigger problems at present there. So there you go. Axial Nitto Trail Grappler R35. Put a green Injora in it. I would go so far as to say that it is decent. And I don't want that to come across as lukewarm praise, but we've tested a whole lot of tires worse than this one. And we will probably continue to test worse tires into the future. So here, at what I would consider to be the conclusion of this, I would like to thank you all so very much for watching this one. I invite you to tune in for whatever we have next. Be sure to comment below with any questions, comments, or concerns. And in between now and when we meet again, please one and all do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. We will see you again here from the canyon. Not bad. Like, not just not bad, but it's a 90, what did I say, 93.4? 93.4. It's a 93.4 that I'm not even mad about. A lot of times I see a 93.4 and I'm like, ugh, these guys could do better. And yes, Axial could do better. But, you know, they were free. If you think about it right, they don't cost anything.